Hi, my name is Marguerite Campbell. I'm the first Vice President and Program Chair for the conference. We start thinking about the conference from the minute the conference finishes the year before. And as we meet and talk about all of the successful experiences that people have had in the present conference, then we start thinking about next year. We also then go through all of the feedback forms. We read every single feedback form that comes back in and take into consideration everything that all of the delegates have written down. And so in some ways that's really what determines whether someone comes back from one year to the next. And then all of us are very committed educators and very committed literacy educators, so we are always trying to keep up with what's the latest in professional learning. And so we will either go to conferences, we'll read, check in with what's going on at the universities, that kind of thing, and see if we can determine what's the best combination of things to put out for students. We have really tried to do a focus on the things that we feel are really important for students. And so as we start to think about what's important for teachers and professional learning for teachers, it always has to go back to what is really good for the needs of students. So as we are thinking about who's coming, we start to think about balancing our primary and junior and the junior and intermediate. We want to ensure that we do we have enough speakers for intermediate and senior teachers coming. We also want to ensure that we have a balance between all forms of literacy. We talk about reading for the love of it, but it's a literacy conference. So we've expanded from the traditional reading, writing, listening to, we've got a lot of pieces around media literacy. We talk about the emotional and the social context for students. And this year we had a dance group come to do a whole discussion. We've tried to infuse that idea around equity and social justice in all of the pieces, but in some areas to be really specific and targeted to dealing with all the diverse areas that students and teachers have to deal with in schools. They only have one day for most of them. So when they come, we figure for the training ground for people to do professional learning for other teachers can't be our conference. So we pretty much get people who have really had successful experiences in professional learning. I think what's really important is all of those things that are encompassed around professional learning, around they're coming, to network with other people. We've gone so far from being just the East York group and the Scarborough group to really, it's an international reading conference. The other thing is that I think for teachers it is a huge confirmation of the wonderful work that they do. In some senses, they're coming to get new ideas and they're things that they're going to take back to their classroom tomorrow. But I think what often happens is that there is a sense of, holy smokes, wait a minute, I do that already. And it's good for kids. Other people are doing this, that's amazing, right? Maybe I should write a book. And I think that those are the kinds of things that percolate in people's minds because it is a huge confirmation that, yes, you're doing it right. I truly believe that you come to a conference like this for two reasons. One is to get those ideas, right? Things that you can take back and use on Monday or next Friday or however that works. But I also think that we have a responsibility as a group to put out things there to challenge people, to get them to really think hard about what it is and why they do the work that they do and how deep the responsibility they have as educators themselves to be filled from the inside to be able to give to students from on the outside. We deliberately pick some speakers who are not educators in that sense, that they're not going to tell them how to set up their guided reading lesson or, how to incorporate the 5 traits of writing. We tell them about how to fill their souls and how to get up in the morning and acknowledge the fact that the world is not the best world we can be, and as teachers we can change that. We have that responsibility, and so I think that's another reason that the group of us, 24 fledgling wonderful, amazing folks, get together once a month and hash out what's going to happen on these 2 days for 3,000 teachers. They get really good, pedagogically sound work, but they also get the food that will sustain them, hopefully, until we see them next year, or challenge them to go out and find another way to feed themselves because they can't come back here next year. This is the spot where you are going to see and be able to purchase the best children's literature out there, right? They get to see what's happening with the publishers display and what's new and hot at all the Scholastics and the Pembrokes and the Nelsons. So they're all here, and so they get a chance to connect with that sense, but they get to see a whole slew of beautiful, stunningly beautiful books.